Pretty cool. So today I got the chance to review a Cybertruck. These things are super cool. When they first came out, I was just mind blown. I really liked them. And the first thing I saw people doing was, of course, shooting them with their guns, which now they're bulletproof, as opposed to when they initially came out and they did the demo, they weren't bulletproof or glass broke, as you can see. But another thing that I see people do is they are putting carrots to see if their fingers are gonna snap, okay? I don't have a carrot, I have this cucumber, and we're gonna test it. We're gonna see if, in fact, they solved this problem, maybe updated the software or something, or if, in fact, if you put your finger or any other human body part in there, that there's potential that it could break or snap or something bad can happen. So we're gonna test it with this cucumber and see what happens. I hope they fixed it. So the button for opening and closing the frunk, as they call it, the front trunk, it's right here. It's this little button here. I've just seen people put it like right here. So let's test this out. Oh, wow, all right, okay. Little dent. I mean, if that were your finger, it probably wouldn't break it, but you know, it'd do a little bit of damage. I'm very tempted to do it with my finger, but probably not today. So we're gonna close this and let's talk about the car and look over the specs. All right, so when you buy the Cybertruck, there's essentially 3 models. There's a single motor, which is the cheapest and slowest. You can buy them about $60,000 MSRP, but right now they're not really selling MSRP, they're over, which is when they came out, they're way over. There's a dual motor, which is what this one is. So you're getting more power and you're spending more money, about $80,000, and you're getting more range. So this one has about 340 miles per range on a full charge, and you're getting a fast 0 to 60. And then the tri-motor, which is the most expensive, that's the initial one that came out. That one comes out about $100,000, 0 to 60, 2.6 seconds, but the range goes down. So it goes from 340 to 300 miles per range. It surprised me at first because I'd think bigger battery, more range, or maybe it's just another motor that it has to make it go faster. But regardless, you're spending more money getting less range, but you're getting faster. So either way, I think they look super, super cool. Stainless steel exterior. As you've seen in all the videos, they're bulletproof. I mean, you could pretty much throw anything at these and they're probably not gonna break. Something you'll notice on the windshield is it has the largest windshield wiper made on a produced car, probably ever. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous how big it is. I mean, you can't even tell in like photos or videos, but when you see it, it's literally, I mean, it's this big. It's huge. It's crazy. Has these big beefy tires on it. When they came out, they had caps on them. I think the original ones had caps on them that were over this. Had a really cool look. They're probably taken off on this. They just like snapped on. All right, so moving to the back, they have this cover on it. They call it the tonneau cover, which, believe it or not, it can actually hold about 300 pounds. So I'm gonna check it out real quick. If you want to open trunk right here, there's a button, a release. It's not electric, so you have to like actually physically bring it up. It's pretty light though, like feels spring loaded to some degree. But let's check out this tonneau cover right here. Wow, this thing feels really sturdy. There's absolutely no break in this, no movement at all. I'm not gonna jump of respect to the owner, but this, like, there's just no bend, no break. It doesn't even feel sketchy standing on this. I weigh about 174 pounds, so it could probably be about 2 of me, essentially, is the weight capacity of this, so there are 2 people on here. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. If you wanna lift the cover, so if you wanna push it back, there's a button here. This is fully electric, which is cool, so you press that, and it'll release. And something that's interesting is it shows the window, because before you couldn't see that there's a window here. Watch this. Boom. Uncovers this window, and which is cool, and we'll check this out when we go inside. When you're in it, obviously you can't see out the back window if the tonneau cover's down or folded out, because that blocks the window. So a screen will pop up with the back camera. So you can see out the back, but it's through the camera and on the screen versus actually being able to see through the back. And then once the cover is down, that screen goes away. I think the bed, it's good size. It has these 3-prong chargers right here, and even this big boy right here, 240. 220, 240 volt, which is sweet. I mean, whatever you're gonna need for that, maybe a generator or something, but it has the three prong as well. When you close the cover, it's not, you have to hold it down. Sure, because you can just choose where you want it specifically. Maybe you can't close it all the way because you have stuff in there, but this closes. Good rate, not too fast. When this thing came out, my immediate thought against a lot of other people's was, I want to own one. So just so you know, putting that out in the universe, I will own one of these Cybertrucks because they're just so badass. But yeah, a lot of people I talk to hate them for some reason. All right, so something else you'll notice in the bed is it has this little space. It's obviously not, you know, you're not gonna fit a ton of stuff in there, but a little piece of luggage. You have your assuming charging. Yep, charging cable right here. It's a nice little space for that. Obviously, yeah, again, you can't fit a ton of stuff in there, but it is a good amount of space. So this car can tow, they say about 11,000 pounds. Definitely feels like a good amount. I think inside the bed itself can hold about 3,000 pounds, and then it can tow, you know, 11,000 in total. It's quite a bit. I mean, that's impressive for an electric truck. All right, so let's check out the inside and see what it has to offer. Getting in is obviously quite an adventure. I'm not gonna lie, when I got to it initially, I'm embarrassed to say it took me a minute. I mean, I was doing this. I had no idea what to do. Just push right there, it opens up, grab it, you pull it open. So it's really just on the edge of this rectangle right here. I don't think, okay, so this whole, actually the whole rectangle is the thing. I just thought it was part in particular. Back, similar, has a little rectangle right here. This is white on black. I don't know how many combinations it comes in. I'm assuming not a lot. Something that I like that they started doing on Teslas is these back screens, which is super sick. So you can control your airflow. You can see the three little areas that the airflow is coming out of right here that you can control on where you want it. You can choose where you want it to go. Then you have your heated seats. The backs don't have cooled seats, but they do have heated seats, and you can show what you want on them. What does that button do? Oh, you can, wow. You can move the seat in front of you forward. So somebody could just be, mom could be sitting there and you can move her seat forward if you wanted to without her even knowing. Look at that, that's crazy. And then you can move it back. That is freaking crazy. I've never seen that in any kind of car. Next you have infotainment, so whatever you're listening to, for some reason you can control the what you're listening to in the back, which doesn't make sense. I mean, you have kids back here, which is typically who it's going to be. It's not like you're chauffeuring anybody, but they get to control what you're doing or listening to essentially. And then of course, when the kids get rowdy, you put on some YouTube for them, you put on some puppy paws or whatever that kid show is, and they can have a blast. This is cool. If I had this when I was a kid, I'd probably be the happiest kid ever, and my mom would probably never have to yell at me when she's driving because she's upset that we're all fighting in the back. So that's cool. To put the window down, it's quite a large button actually, right here on the side of the passenger doors, and then to open it up, it's just a little button right here. And that's kind of the new thing is what Tesla's doing is they're buttons. They're not anything you have to pull. You just push them, they open up. When you're looking at the driver's side, you just see the Cybertruck right here, which is super cool. Getting in it, you have these little visors which can pop out. I mean, they're pretty tiny. A lot of the Tesla visors are pretty small. These, I mean, not much you can do with them. You have a little break here in the window, but the back definitely has a really nice size window. You have obviously a large screen here, have a little bit of space, nothing that's normal. Something I do want to check though is if you guys remember, they had a recall where these things right here were sliding off. Like literally, you'd be able to put this down and the cover would slide up and get stuck. Which, imagine that, you're driving, you gas it for a second, it slips up and it gets stuck and you're going, I mean, faster and faster than, like, God knows what happens. You probably run into something. But it looks like they did fix it. I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like they bolted it in. Like there's a bolt at the bottom here. And when I try to lift this, there's no budge. That's good. I can't imagine the people that were renting them out making, I don't know, I think I saw them going for like $1,200 a day renting out on Turo, and then recall hits. And then they got to get these fixed. And I don't know how long it took because it was so new. They had to order the parts and then they had to take them. So I can't imagine going from making $1,200 a day to not being able to make anything because of the recall, and a scary recall at that. But let's I want to look at something really quick. So the tonneau cover, so as you can see, I can't see through the mirror right now, but also, let's put this in drive real quick. So the key is going to go right here. I just want to see something. Okay, there's your screen right here. So you can see that's right behind you, but the cover is on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cover and I'm going to open it. You can see it opening up right now. And then once it's open, it's not going to prompt, so I'll put it back in drive. It's not going to prompt and show you that anymore. You can use this little tiny, I mean, this itty tiny bitty review mirror, which is like, phone's almost bigger than it. Look at this. My phone is bigger than it. That's crazy. Something you'll notice with the Cybertruck, because stainless steel is just so hard to like mold, there's imperfections. So bigger line here and it kind of thins down here. It's not perfect. The lines look pretty decent on this one, and that's something you'll notice on Teslas just in general, is the lines aren't perfectly straight. Sometimes you'll have larger gap and then it'll go thinner, or vice versa, or maybe the gaps are just somewhat inconsistent. On this one, they don't look terribly bad. Still, just in general, something that I've heard is there are definitely gaps in these cars. So it's just something to look out for. It's not going to change how fast it is or how well it drives, but it's, you know, something to notice, specifically, I guess, in the build quality. So I'm curious on how the taillights look, because you have this large bar right here. Ooh, very cool. So you have one taillight, two, and then you have this red little bar here. Then you have the blinkers going that way. That's cool. Yeah, that's super cool. Wow. Yeah, the hazards. Wow. I really like this truck. I've said it. I'll say it again. At some point, I will definitely own one of these trucks. They're just super cool looking. It's like a truck you'd see on the moon, like some sort of moon landing stuff. It's just so different. You just, like, you won't see another, until they start producing, in my eyes, it's kind of like futuristic. Until they start producing stuff like this, it's just, you won't see it. And there obviously hasn't been many signs of people making stuff similar yet. I think the first demo was 2019, but so it took about 3 to 4 years for them to come out. So the next one, maybe, is the Tesla Roadster, I wonder. All right, so just sitting in the Cybertruck right now. We're about to do a little test drive on it. Something that I have to appreciate right away, it's the cooled seats on Model 3s. Before the 2024s, it's something you did not have, and it sucked because in 118-degree weather, it just absolutely sucked. So cooled seats are on. I'm about to put this thing in drive. Before we do, let's wipe the windshield with the largest windshield wiper in the world on a car. And do that. Holy crap, that thing's freaking huge. And what feels different already is the Model 3s and like the X's and stuff. There's a lot more stuff to like wipe the windshield, but this is very minimal. Like, it didn't feel like a lot. Normally it's just like spraying out. So that's crazy. You can put in drive with this here, kind of like a plaid, or you can just tap on the brake. That's the new thing that Tesla started doing. Or third option is up here, put it in drive right here. So it's in drive right now. I can put it in neutral. I'm gonna put it back in drive, and then take off from there. One thing that I notice immediately, and I've already drove this a little bit today, but I'm realizing, is the steering feels really loose. I mean, in a really big car, you'd expect steering to be maybe firmer. You'd turn and it wouldn't turn as much as it is right now. That partially has to do with the back wheels turn as well as the front, so you get more of a turning radius, essentially, or a shorter turning radius. So when I take this turn, I turn a lot less than I would expect to. I mean, normally it'd be all the way over there, but that turns it a lot more. So the feeling when you get in is just different. You kind of have to adjust to it just a little bit. I have to say, this is kind of a mix between the old regular steering wheel and the yoke, which is just the two on each side, which is typically in the plaid cars. I'm not a big fan of the yoke, primarily because, and I'm going to show you here right now, you'll want to take a turn. Maybe you'll take a right or a left, or maybe you're taking a U-turn, and you'll do this, and you'll reach for here or here, but there's nothing there. So you have to go full over here, which is uncomfortable. It just doesn't feel right. So this has obviously the bottom and the top portion, which is really nice because then I can grab it. And it's not too big, it's not too small. It's like a nice, comfortable size that I can fit my hand around. I really like this in comparison to both. I like the shape and the look of this one better than like the older Model 3s, like the 23s and 22s. And I like this a lot more than the yoke because I think that the yoke is uncomfortable and it just doesn't feel good. It feels like it'd be nice in like if you're gonna do a launch, like a takeoff right there. Other than that, not a big fan, not a fan. When you're trying to turn, do any movement other than go straight, I don't like it. So for those reasons, I'm out. But this one is a great mix in between. So we're gonna take this thing on the highway. This thing has, as I mentioned, 845 horsepower for the tri-motor, 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds, which if I'm not mistaken, it should still be the fastest produced truck made. So we're gonna do just a little launch right here. As we go onto the highway, we're gonna stop here. 3, 2, 1. Whoa, whoa, whoa. 60. Wow. I've launched a Plaid, I've launched a 3, I've launched an S, Plaid X. I've launched practically all the Teslas. This feels like a Plaid because it's so fast. Plaid's a little faster, like it just throws you back so hard you almost black out probably the first time, especially when I did. But this just feels so big. It's just surprising to me to feel a car this big go so fast. It's a very weird feeling. It's a car that probably shouldn't be going this fast at this size. And to account for the bulletproof exterior and the really thick material, stainless steel in particular. I mean, if you hit somebody going fast in this, I'm curious, actually. I'm curious what it would look like, because I'm assuming that this car would probably have very little to no damage, and almost any other car that you hit is, depending on the speed and where you hit them, of course, is probably going to get absolutely demolished. Like if this car were to T-bone something, the other car wouldn't stand a chance, but I can see this car taking a lot to actually get damaged or to get totaled. Like it'd probably take a lot of force to get totaled just because of how hard the exterior is. We've seen the bulletproof stuff. We've seen people shooting guns at it. we saw the initial launch, which I love this, when Elon and somebody else, they threw a metal ball. He had somebody throw a metal ball at it. It's probably a stainless steel ball. And it broke. Didn't it break the windshield and it dented the side? Yeah, that was hilarious. They had the tech and they probably were able to, make it not break in any way. But I think, and there's probably articles about it, but I'm pretty sure they did that as a ploy. Like, that was genius. So many people laughed and said, oh yeah, you said you could make this bulletproof thing, but you couldn't. And the amount of free publicity that gave, insane. And now people are really testing it. Like, there's so many videos of people like shooting it, jumping on it. It takes a lot to damage these. But I don't know how to clean them. I'm sure stainless steel is probably a special method. But yeah, these things are pretty resistant. So we're on the highway going 72. Feels good. I mean, it's not shaking too much. It doesn't feel like it's going overly fast. I feel a lot of control. The steering is still really light. Like, I'm barely moving it, like barely touching it to really get a little range of motion to take little turns, which is not what you typically expect. Let's see how you put this thing in self-driving. Oh.
I think once or twice.
Okay. Oh, we don't have it on this. Oh, must be in park to enable. Well,
full self-driving supervised will be available in upcoming.
Oh, interesting. So there's no self-driving in the Cybertrucks yet. They're probably still working out the kinks. Makes sense. I mean, these literally just came out. Because of the build of the Cybertrucks, is typically on a Tesla or any car, like your dash will really end like right here. But this has like an extended dash. So you're talking about, I don't know the exact measurement, but I mean, it looks like a couple feet, maybe 2.5 feet of just dash. And it's because obviously the window is angled in a way that it gives you this much room, but it's just super strange to look down a little bit and just see car inside for so long. It just looks weird. And then you can see the speaker at the top there. All right, so as you know, everything's controlled on the screen, essentially, other than these little buttons here. When you're thinking about moving your steering wheel up, down, in and out, because every car has that functionality, you think, okay, it's under here. But then you remember, oh wait, it's a Tesla. They don't have normal things like that. So you have to go in the settings, you pull up this menu right here, and then it's this button right here. So like up is up, down is down, left is in, right is out. So fully electric, because typically they're mechanical or whatever. You have to like pull them out yourself, push them in. But yeah, this one's all electric. Claim to fame is the speed on the Cybertrucks. It says that the 0 to 60 is 3.8 seconds. We're gonna test that and see if it's actually 3.8. It feels faster to me. It's just because it's so instantaneous, I'm assuming. So we're gonna test it and see how close it is. I'm gonna try to do my best to do both. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So about 4 seconds. So it's probably pretty close. That one felt like it took off a little slower. Maybe I launched it wrong, but taking that in consideration, 3.8 is probably about right. I think we test it one more time just to see if we can get close to what they claim is a 3.8. And it doesn't help that, I can only click go and stop so fast. So let's give it one more attempt. All right, so we're gonna try it right here. Ready, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh. Yeah, that one was slower, 4.3. If you hit it right, I'm sure it's about 3.8. But yeah, that one did not hit it. So this range is 340 miles. We've been driving a little bit. I picked it up at 80% and it's only down to 79, but I've driven it probably 15. No, I've driven more. I've driven probably 30, 35 minutes. So range is holding really, really well, which I like. And I know that's a big thing when people think about electric cars. They think about, okay, how far can I go? How accurate is the range? And this one feels so far so good. And that's my biggest thing. If I'm gonna own an electric car, I drive a lot. I just wanna make sure that it can go a good distance. So yeah, this one's been so far so good. All right, so something that I noticed while driving this is when you floor it a little bit, so you can hear the whine up of a typical like Tesla accelerating fast. But then there's almost like a small motor sound once you're accelerating fast enough. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but once you accelerate, it's a deeper tone that you hear. And I haven't heard that. I've heard the whine up in like a faster Tesla, maybe like a Plaid or the P90DX. That's what it was. P90D Ludicrous or XS, whatever they were back in the day. But this is different. This has like the whine sound of a typical acceleration, like I said. but it almost has like a motor sound too. Like a deeper, it's weird. That's interesting. I'm just now realizing that. It's only with rapid acceleration. Like if you're just driving normally, cruising, you won't hear it. But the second you step on it, you can hear that sound. That is weird. Very weird. All right, so something that's super crazy about the Cybertrucks is when you turn the wheel, you're not only turning the front tire, you're also turning the back tire. So check this out. I'm gonna pull forward and you can see the front or the back wheels moving, which is freaking crazy. Like, look at that. And then we're gonna back it up. We're gonna put it in a spot. So we're gonna move the back. Look at that. That is just unlike anything I've ever seen. And so what's interesting is when I first got in it, I was like, what's wrong with the steering? Like something feels really wrong. Like maybe I just obviously wasn't used to it, but I wasn't sure what it was. And then I come to realize that the back steering or the back wheels turn as well. So I'm like, okay, well that's why it feels so weird and abnormal. But once you realize that, then you kind of start to understand how it works. So super crazy that the back wheels can turn as well. Crazy. All right, so after having the day with the Cybertruck, I was in love with it before I got it, and I'm more in love with it even after having it. It looks cool, it feels good, it's super fast, it looks just unlike anything you've ever seen before. Whenever you drive this thing, you just get all the heads turned. Like you can be in a Ferrari, you can be in a Porsche, but when you're in a Cybertruck, like everybody is turning their head to look at you. I think this is like one of the coolest cars right now, and I can't wait to have one for myself. So thanks for watching, really appreciate everybody supporting, and I'll see you in the next video.